all the parts are a little bit closer, but is this a perfect circle?
No.
No. Criticizing my drawing? Okay, that's fine. Here, though, we have more perfect circles or triangles. And you can see this circle is more perfect than that circle because it's closer to a perfect circle. We know what a perfect circle is, so we can judge that this is a better triangle. But here, this is actually a circle. This is not a good circle, but it's a better circle than that one, and we know that why. Yeah.
That one looks like a mushroom.
It looks like a mushroom, good. But how do we know that this is a better circle than that? Why do we have that ability to know that it's a better circle?
Because it's closer to the purpose.
Excellent. That's exactly it. It's closer to being a perfect circle. Now, I want you to answer this question for me. Without looking it up, I want you to tell me, is that a good Quarvat?
What?
You just have to tell me the answer. Don't look it up. Tell me, is that a good Quarvat or a bad Quarvat?
You say,
I'm saying, I know.
that looks kind of like a,
Be careful. I'm going to give you follow-up questions depending on how you answer.
It looks like a flower.
looks like a cowboy.
Is that a good Quarvat or is that a bad Quarvat? Okay, once you answer, put your Chromebooks on the ground and let's take a look. What people said.
Jewish is
I'm the only one that said no.
All right.
Who said I have no idea?
Kylan, where are you, Kylan? Kylan, you said that's a good Quarvat.
The detail point.
The detail. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That flatters my ego. Here's the thing, though. In order for you to say it's a good Quarvat, you'd have to know what a Quarvat is, right? Good. Please give me the definition of a Quarvat. Wait a minute. Then how can you know if it's a good Quarvat if you don't know what a Quarvat is? Maybe it's a bad Quarvat.
Oh, no, I think it's a good one.
That's what I was gonna say. I have no idea.
Okay. Oh, so all right, I'll let you change it to no idea. Who else said it was a good Quarvat? Let's see. Cesar.
Yeah.
Okay, so you must know what a good.
Who did that? Raise your hand. I saw it change to 15. Nobody says it's bad, so it's not bad.
Oh, it's not bad, but if you say yes, you must know what a Quarvat is.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, I'm thinking it's like a fountain.
No.
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 Well, like quar, like
Quar.
Quar.
Quar. Q-U-A-R. Not a Corvette.
Corvette.
Here, since it's a good Quarvat, you must know what a Quarvat is. Here, draw a good Quarvat for me. Or here, give me the definition of a Quarvat.
An object that exists. That's a good definition.
No, it's too vague because that could also be me. And that could also be your desk. And that could also be King Charles II, or the Third. It could also be Yoda, the stuffed animal. It could also be a dung beetle.
I think Elijah.
Why do you say
No,
that?
because Elijah puts this.
Yeah, 'cause
Why did you put that, Elijah?
Because I have no clue what a Corvette is.
Yes, there's no way to tell if it's a good Quarvat or a bad Quarvat unless you know what a Quarvat is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Here's the thing. You know what a good circle is and a bad circle is because you know what a perfect circle is. If you don't know what a Quarvat is, there's no way to tell if it's good or bad. The argument for perfection goes like this. Some things are just better or worse than others. Those things are intelligible ideas. Things are better or things are worse. You know what a better circle or a worse circle is. That's because you know the perfect idealized version of that thing. You can only know if something is better or worse if there is a perfect version, a perfection. Again, you draw your triangles to see if they match the perfect triangularity. Your circle is only good inasmuch as you have perfect circularity. But if there is no ultimate good, then nothing is better or worse than another. And those terms, better or worse, don't mean anything. Just different. What do I mean by that? Who here watched the football game yesterday? Man, that was a nail biter, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember those last 2 minutes. I said, "Oh, we lost." That was it. And then 60-yard field. I've never seen that.
My boy Cade York.
Cade York. Someone said to me, Cade York is never going to have to buy a beer in Cleveland for the rest of his life. It's true. So, Cade York, 60-yard field goal, great. Football. So everyone knows, who here is either plays football or watches football? Okay. So if your team is on offense, how do you know if you have good progress or bad progress on your? Go ahead.
Pretty much. If you got farther than you started.
What do you mean farther? Because I could go in one direction and be much worse than another.
You get closer to your end zone.
To your end zone. Okay. So if on my possession I go 10 yards towards my end zone, that's good progress. But if I go 20 yards away from my end zone, that's bad progress. Because you know where your end is, right? So you can very objectively say if your position is better position or worse position. What if we change the rules of football so that every 30 seconds the end zone changed? It's 30 seconds over here, then it changes to the other end. Sometimes it's in the middle of the field, sometimes in the stands, sometimes in the parking lot. It just goes all over every 30 seconds. If you keep moving the ball that way, are you making progress? Are you getting better? No, you're just changing. It's a different position, but it's never any better or worse. That's kind of Thomas's point. If there's no perfect being, if there is no perfect goodness, then the ideas of better and worse don't mean anything. If everything is just different, I mean, like, which is better, a healthy body, a sick body, or a dead body?
Healthy.
Well, here, a healthy body, a sick body, and a dead body have just as many atoms. Right? But we know one has more value than another. Because we know that ultimately there is a perfection in a living body. Bodies are meant to be alive. That's what their function is. So there's a kind of perfection of what the human body should be. That's how we know what health is. We know what's healthy and unhealthy because there is a perfection we have in our mind of what health ideally should be in the body. But if there's no perfect being, then being healthy, being sick, being dead, it's all the same. So there has to be this perfect being which says the closer you get to the perfection, it is better rather than being worse, and that being we call God. Like I said, the proofs 4 and 5 are a little more heady, so if you don't quite get it, that's okay. But number 5 has to go back to this question of existence. Number 5 deals with what we call necessary being. So Seamus, you exist, right? And we said, where did you come from? Your parents. Seamus, did you have to exist? No. Nothing. Not only did all the things that you mentioned, everyone I asked, some things like the pen, the notebook, the desk, the wall, anything, all the things that we pointed to, there's nothing that you pointed to that had to exist. Nothing that you pointed to that is a necessary being. Necessary being, instead all the things we pointed to are contingent beings. These are things that could exist or could not exist. Seamus, you didn't have to exist, right? In fact, think about it. It is so strange that you exist. I don't mean you personally. I think it's strange that any of us exist. Because think about all the odds that were against your mom and your dad even meeting. Maybe you've got a story if your mom had not gone to that party, or your dad had not taken work at that one company, you wouldn't be here. It's so weird. Not only that, but the odds of you being here, even if you get two people meet, the odds of creating a situation in which you come into being, that's so astronomically high. Because there's so many odds against it. I mean, who knows? Maybe if your dad hadn't come home with that 6-pack of Coors Banquet, you wouldn't be here. That's how I got here. I'm sure there are some people who are coming to existence today because their parents were celebrating after the Browns win yesterday. And if the Browns had lost, maybe they wouldn't have celebrated. They wouldn't have come into being. But it's so odd that we come into being because everything seems to be going against it. But we are contingent. We are very contingent beings. We didn't have to come into existence. That's different than a necessary being. A necessary being is something that must exist. What Thomas says is that there has to be a necessary being. There has to be a being which necessarily must exist. Not everything in this universe can be contingent. Why? Because you can't get something from nothing. Here's the thing. Thomas imagines, if there is no creator, if the universe just always was, then if you have an infinite past, if the universe goes back into the past infinitely, and all we are is contingent beings, you can come into existence, you go out of existence. But with an infinite past, you are going to go through every single possible combination of things that exist and things that don't exist. And at some point you get to a situation where everything fell out of existence. The problem is, if everything falls out of existence, that's it. We can't exist anymore. Because if everything ceased to exist, it can't come back into existence, because you can't get something from nothing. The fancy Latin term for that is ex nihilo nihil fit. By the way, if you want to sound smart at people, quote Latin at them, they'll shut them up. It's like, well, you know, it's like they say, cogito ergo sum. Let arguments, that argument is post hoc ergo propter hoc. Oh, I didn't know you had magical power. All right. Anyway, qui latine dictum, sit altum videtur.
Nice.
Amen. But out of nothing comes nothing. If everything goes out of existence, which would have had to happen if the past is infinite, and we're all contingent beings, then everything would have ceased to exist. We couldn't be here, but we are here. If there is no necessary being, every contingent being would have gone out of existence already, and never come back. We wouldn't be here. But we are here.